Slani everybody, I am Corvus Bruxo Luggenikos and I'm your Wednesday host here in Starting Out Solitary. It's been a long time no see because I've been sick and I'm still a little bit sick, so I apologize in advance for any mistake I might commit with my English. But yeah, I'm still a little bit sick, but at least I don't have a fever anymore, so I feel strong enough to film a video. This week's topic is working in your craft with dead animals or body parts of dead animals. So a little bit of history. As a pagan and as an animist, of course that I agree with and work with dead animals, but I also think that there is an ethic that you have to follow in order to work with animals. So in the past, animistic and pagan cultures used to sacrifice animals in rituals and ceremonies, as my other hosts said in the previous videos. These sacrifices were to pleasure the gods, but they were never sacrificed and used to waste. They honored the animals. If they were like farmed animals, they were like, pampered and spoiled a lot before the ceremony, like giving them the best food and stuff like that. And usually, at least in Indo-European cultures, usually the blood and sometimes the entrails were to the gods, and usually the rest were to the humans. The meat was for ceremonial feasts in which the tribe gathered and ate together and stuff, and the food was usually used for decoration, covering the body in winter times. It depends. The bones could be used for weaponry or could be used for divination. Same for the teeth. The skull had many uses in especially shamanic cultures or animistic cultures, because there's this belief that it's not explicit in any culture that I know of, at least, but anthropologically you can see in folktales and legends and stuff that the bones seem to have a soul or a part of the soul in them, and there are many legends in which as long as you leave the bones or at least the skull intact, the animal, the character or whatever could return back to life or be restored or have a happy life in the other world or whatsoever. It varies from story to story, but basically the bones are important. So as an animist, that's why I keep the bones if I can, but I also use animal body parts for other things, for divination, and also to represent my gods on my altar. Actually, I don't have many body parts. I am not that far in my craft and my orthodox religious practice so far, but the few body parts that I have, most of them are for my religious altar, in which I use them to represent specific deities. I am not against modern animal sacrifice, but I think there are strict ethical rules to follow if you want to practice sacrifice. The first and foremost is not using endangered animals. There are many animals that are endangered right now, that they are under peril of extinction, that they weren't back in our ancestors' times, and they could sacrifice lots of animals. They could perform hecatombs, killing hundreds and hundreds, and they weren't under peril yet. That maybe now they are, and I don't find ethical to kill one single member of those endangered animals, because we're contributing to their extinction for religious motivations. Unless you find the body parts, like they died naturally and you found body parts and you use them, I don't find sacrifice for their fur, for their bones or whatever ethical at all. If you sacrifice them, I don't condone animal cruelty at all, and I don't think our ancestors did. The ones who performed the sacrifice, the priests, etc., they were highly trained and they knew how to kill the animal very quickly with little to none pain at all. So if you're not trained in killing animals, then don't sacrifice animals yourself, because you will inflict a lot of pain on the animal, and I think that taints the sacrifice. So in the end, I think it invalidates the ritual and it is unethical and unnecessary. Then my other rule is use all that you can. Use the fur, use the bones, use the eyeballs, use the teeth, use the skull, everything that you can. Eat the meat if you know how to prepare it. Use all that you can, and if you don't know, then train yourself to do so. So yeah, that's my take on animal sacrifice particularly, and about using animal body parts. They can be animals that you have sacrificed yourself if you're trained in sacrificing, or it could be body parts that you find on nature, that you are given, or a friend obtains for you because they're trained that you're not, etc. There are many ways, as I say, to use the body parts as charms, as amulets, as divination tools, as crafting tools, etc. And they can be, as I said, for the story of the bones and the bone soul, that you work with familiar spirits or a totemic spirit, that's lack of a better word, and you have the bones as recipient of the spirit. But yeah, what I'm gonna do is show you now the animals that I use. This one is the skull of seagull that I found dead, and I had to basically boil myself to separate the meat from the bones, and I obtained some feathers as well. And this is interesting because I thought it was a familiar spirit at first, and this comes because of a story that I told in my channel, in which I found a rabbit dead in a very specific place where I have been leaving offerings for some time, and I freaked out so much that I didn't take the rabbit to home, because I live with my parents and I thought they would freak out. So I buried it, and I intended to pick it up the day after, and the day after probably a fox had already unearthed it and took it away, and I was very pissed off. I kept giving offerings, asking for a familiar again, and one day I went back using the beach trail, and I found this dead seagull, and I assumed this was my so asked for familiar spirit. And I tried to communicate with it, and nothing, and nothing, and nothing, until I have a dream and some communications with the god Lugus. It was the time that I vowed myself to Lugus, and I understood that Lugus wasn't only linked to ravens and probably cranes, but also to other birds as omens from the other world. And then I have that skull as a representation of Lugus, since I don't have a raven skull or a spear or something that could represent him. Lugus, in case you don't know, is the continental name of the Irish Lu in Celtic mythology. Then I have also, for my religious altar, this goat horn. This goat horn, I use it to represent my underworld goddess Athena, or Ataegina. She's a Lusitanian and Vetonian goddess of the underworld. She was compared to Proserpina, which is Roman Persephone. And her name probably means the reborn one, and she is linked to goats. And we know this because we found like goat-shaped figurines like this size with a base. And in the base, the name Ataekina was written in Latin characters. I also have this that I don't know what animal it is from, but it is a drinking horn, of course, and I use it to pour my libations, my liquid offerings. I don't know what animal it is made from. I know it is ethical because I trust the artisan that made this. But at the beginning it smelled animal, so I know it's animal made. And I have one more thing, and this is not for my altar, this is for my working place, or my working altar, in which I work the craft beyond my religious practices. And it is this, and I use this to call upon water or ocean or sea energies and spirits and elementals, and yeah, basically the genies and numens of the sea and the ocean. I found it this way on the beach, so no animal was harmed, or well, maybe it was harmed, but not by me. And yeah, that's my take on working with dead animals. Please tell me what you think in the comments down below. We'll see each other next Wednesday, I hope, if I'm better, which everything points that I'm getting better now. Sorry for the long absence. Thanks for watching, and bye.